We are all immensely pleased to be with you to celebrate the genius of Jimmy Van Heusen, who was born almost exactly 100 years ago, January 26, 1913, in Syracuse, New York. This biographical sketch I'm presenting to you is based in large part on the work of Ken Roberts, a jazz fan, a leading figure in the Nashville banking and Frist Foundation circles, among other endeavors in Nashville. Ken. And it can start with a conclusion, namely that Edward Chester Babcock, Jimmy Van Heusen's given name, was one of the most brilliant songwriters of the great American songbook. He spent most of his career in Hollywood, where he was nominated for 14 Oscars, more than any other composer by far, and won 4 of them. He also was nominated for 3 Tonys, 3 Golden Globes, and won 1 Emmy. He wrote 800 songs, of which at least 50 became standards. He wrote more songs recorded by Frank Sinatra, his longtime friend, than any other writer, 85 in all, and he composed the songs for 25 of Bing Crosby's movies, including 6 of the Bing and Bob Hope road pictures. Most of the tunes were written with just 2 lyricist partners, Johnny Burke from 1940 to 1953, and Sammy Cahn thereafter. Wow, what an overview. Chester Babcock was a musically gifted child. He began to play the piano and write songs at an early age. Even as a youngster in Syracuse, he entertained audiences with his wit and his musical skill. As a teenager, he worked as a disc jockey for a local radio station, and he would invite people to send in lyrics. For $10, he would compose a melody to go with the lyrics. He also wrote down the lyrics in shorthand of new songs he heard on the radio, and he would sing those songs and some of his own on his radio program. In 1928, still Chester Babcock, he decided he needed a better name to promote himself. While looking out the window of the 11th floor of the Hotel Syracuse with a friend, he saw a billboard advertising Van Heusen collars. With that, he decided to become Van Heusen, and he asked his friend for ideas about a first name. The friend said his favorite cousin was named James. Voila, James Jimmy Van Heusen. While at Syracuse University, Jimmy became friends with Jerry Arlen, brother of composer Harold Arlen, who was then the main songwriter for the famed Cotton Club revues in Harlem. And Jimmy realized he needed to go to New York City to have a shot at success, and he did so, quickly becoming a staff pianist on Tin Pan Alley, the mecca of popular music in the early 20th century. In 1933, his friendship with Jerry Arlen paid off when several of Jimmy's songs were performed in the Cotton Club. But it wasn't until 1939 that he produced the first of his rich string of hits. With lyricist Eddie DeLange, he composed 3 musicals on Broadway. None was a big success, and one of them, though lasting only 13 days on Broadway, contained what was to become a great standard. The show was called Swingin' the Dream, based loosely on Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Now here's Jeff Hall to sing that show's lasting gem, Darn That Dream.
Darn that dream, I dream each night. You say you love me and you hold me tight. But when I awake, you're out of sight. Oh, darn that dream. Darn your lips and darn your eyes. They lift me high above the moonlit skies. Then I tumble out of paradise. Oh, darn that dream. one-track mind of mine. It can't understand why you don't care. Just to change the mood I'm in, I'd welcome a night so nightmare. Darn that dream and bless it too. Without that dream I never would have you. But it haunts me and it won't come true. Oh darling, that dream.
Thank you. The following year, 1940, Van Heusen hooked up with lyricist Johnny Burke, and that was the start of a fabulous partnership, producing more than one song each week that year alone. Several of them made the 1940 hit parade, including Polka Dots and Moonbeams, which we heard Laurie playing at the beginning of our show. And now, here's Liz Johnson to sing another of those 1940 blockbusters, the lovely ballad, Imagination.
Imagination is funny. It makes a cloudy day sunny. Makes a bee think of honey, just as I think of you. Imagination is crazy. Your whole perspective gets hazy. Starts you asking a daisy what to do, what to do. Have you ever felt a gentle touch, and then a kiss, and then find it's only your imagination again? Oh well, imagination is so silly. You go around willy-nilly. For example, I go around wanting you, and yet I can't imagine that you want me to.
Paramount Pictures lured Van Heusen and Burke to Hollywood in 1940 at the request of Bing Crosby, the most popular singer in the world at that time. Together, they wrote scores for 6 of the 7 road movies starring Crosby and Bob Hope. And they were definitely the A-team of Hollywood writers, producing hit after hit for Crosby. But let's deviate for a moment from Van Heusen and Burke and answer the question, how come Jimmy Van Heusen did not team up with the great lyricist Johnny Mercer? Well, he did in 1939, before going to Hollywood. Jimmy and Johnny Mercer wrote 3 tunes that year. 2 of them went nowhere, but one did. And here's Liz Johnson to sing that Van Heusen Johnny Mercer hit, I've Thought About You.
2, 1, 2, 3. I took a trip on a train and I thought about you. We passed a shadowy lane and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, a winding stream. Moon shining down on some little town, and with each beam, same old dream. At every stop that we made, oh, I thought about you. And I thought about you. I peeked through the crack and looked at the track, the one going back to you. And what did I do? I thought about you. Took a trip on a train and I thought about you. We passed a shadowy lane and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, a winding stream. Moon shining down on some little town, and with each beam, same old dream. With every stop that we made, oh, I thought about you. And when I pulled down the shade, then I really felt blue. I peeked through the crack and looked at the track, the one going back to you. And what did I do? Yeah, what did I do? Yeah, what did I do? I thought about you.
Did Larry say world-class musicians, huh? All right. Back to the mid-1940s now. World War II had been raging for a couple of years, and Jimmy Van Heusen was not only writing hit songs, he also was working part-time as a test pilot for Lockheed Aircraft under his real name. He would get up at 4:30 in the morning, head to Lockheed, fly till noon, work in the studio until dinner time, and after that, most days, he would party well into the night. It was a wonder Van Heusen had not yet won an Oscar. Now, that was taken care of in 1944 when he wrote Swinging on a Star with Johnny Burke for the Bing Crosby film Going My Way. Now here's Laurie Mechem on piano, Roger Spencer bass, Duffy Jackson drums, and Denis Solee saxophone playing that Oscar-winning tune, Swinging on a Star.
1, 2, 3.
Well, 1944 was a great year for Van Heusen and Burke as Hollywood cranked out a torrent of musicals. Although most of them were not very good, most had at least one great Van Heusen-Burke song. That's true of one you probably haven't heard of, the Belle of the Yukon. And here's Liz Johnson to sing the classic tune from that movie, Like Someone in Love.
Lately, I find myself out gazing at stars, hearing guitars like someone in love. Sometimes the things I do astound me, mostly whenever you're around me. Lately, I seem to walk as though I had wings. I bump into things like someone in love. Each time I look at you, I'm limp as a glove, and I'm feeling just like someone in love. Lately, I seem to walk as though I had wings. I bump into things like someone in love. And each time I look at you, I'm limp as a glove, and I'm feeling like someone, like someone in love.
Still in 1944, the pattern repeats itself. Another movie musical that went nowhere fast, called And the Angels Sing, but it had a piece of Van Heusen-Burke gold in it, namely, It Could Happen to You. Here's Jeff.
Hide your heart from sight, lock your dreams at night. It could happen to you. Don't count stars or you might stumble. Someone drops a sigh and down you tumble. Keep an eye on spring, run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I did was wonder how your arms would be, and it happened to me. sight. Lock your dreams at night. It could happen to you. Don't count stars or you might stumble. Someone drops a sigh and down you'll tumble. Keep an eye on spring. Run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I did was wonder how your arms would be. And it happened. You know that it happened. And it happened to me. Yes, it happened to me.
All right. Jimmy Van Heusen and Johnny Burke continued to churn out movie hit songs for a few more years, and in 1947, for The Road to Rio, they came up with a gorgeous number entitled But Beautiful. It is, and Liz will sing it for us now, But Beautiful.
Love is funny, or it's sad, or it's quiet, or it's mad. It's a good thing, or it's bad, but beautiful. Beautiful to take a chance, and if you fall, you fall. And I'm thinking that I wouldn't mind at all. Love is cheerful, or it's gay. It's a problem, or it's play. It's a heartache either way, but beautiful. And I'm thinking, if you were mine, I'd never let you go. And that would be but beautiful, I know.
While you have your hands in the applauding mode, how about a round for Laurie Mechem on piano? Roger Spencer on bass. Duffy Jackson on drums. And Denis Solee saxophone. Yeah. Well, the Van Heusen Burke years were slowly coming to an end, and Johnny's poor health was part of the reason he left Jimmy in 1953 for semi-retirement. Most of Van Heusen's songs thereafter were done with Sammy Cahn as lyricist. Frank Sinatra had urged Van Heusen to team up with Cahn, and they became Sinatra's favorite team. As Ken Roberts notes, a review of Van Heusen's prodigious output shows his collaboration with Johnny Burke was better suited to Bing Crosby's persona, whereas the tunes done with Sammy Cahn as lyricist were right down Sinatra's alley. Well, the Van Heusen-Cahn team began to rack up a bunch of awards starting in 1955 when they wrote The Tender Trap for the movie of that same name. It got an Oscar nomination, but was not selected. Still, it became a great Sinatra hit, and here's Jeff to sing The Tender Trap.
You see a pair with laughing eyes, suddenly a sighing sighs. You're thinking nothing's wrong, you string along, boy, and then snap. Those eyes, those sighs, they're part of the tender trap. You're hand in hand beneath the trees, soon there's music in the breeze. You're feeling kind of smart until your heart just goes whack. And those trees that breeze, they're part of the tender trap. Some starry night when her kisses make you tingle, she'll hold you tight and you'll hate yourself for being single. And all at once it seems so nice, friends are throwing shoes and rice, and you hurry to a spot that's just a dot on the map. And you're hooked, you're cooked, you're part of the tender trap. Kisses make you tingle, she'll hold you tight and you'll curse yourself for being single. And all at once it seems so nice, our friends are throwing shoes and rice. You hurry to a spot that's just a dot on the map, and then you wonder how it all worked out. You fell in love, there's no getting out. You fell in love, and love is the tender trap. Yeah.
Well, also in 1955, they won an Emmy for their tune Love and Marriage that sparkled in the NBC show Our Town. And 2 years later, 1957, they hit the Academy Award jackpot for the first of 3 times with a great tune from the movie The Joker is Wild. Liz Johnson and Jeff Hall are going to team up with that Oscar-winning number, All the Way.
When somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you all the way. Happy to be near you when you need someone to cheer you all the way. Taller than the tallest tree is, that's how it's got to feel. Deeper than the deep blue sea is, That's how deep it goes if it's real.
When somebody needs you, it's no good unless he needs you. All the way through the good and lean years, and for all the in-between years, come what may. Who knows where the road will lead us? Only a fool can say.
But if you let me love you,
It's for sure I'm gonna love you all the way.
all the way.
Another 2 years, another Oscar. In 1959, Van Heusen and Kahn turned out High Hopes for a picture called A Hole in the Head. Although High Hopes won the Academy Award, musicians wondered whether maybe the committee had a hole in the head, because another great tune from that show found a welcome home in the jazz repertoire. Here's Liz Johnson with All My Tomorrows.
Today I may not have a thing at all, except for just a dream or two. But I've got lots of plans for tomorrow, and all my tomorrows belong to you. Right now it may not seem like spring at all. We're drifting and the laughs are few. But I've got rainbows planned for tomorrow, and all my tomorrows belong to you. No one knows better than I that luck keeps passing me by. Well, that's fate. But with you there by my side, I'll soon be turning the tide. Just wait. As long as I've got arms that cling at all, it's you that I'll be clinging to. And all the dreams I dream, beg or borrow from some bright tomorrow, they'll all come true. And all my bright tomorrows belong to you.
Well, Jimmy Van Heusen and Johnny Jimmy Van Heusen and Sammy Cahn were winning all those awards at a time when the music scene was practically the dominion of Elvis Presley and the rock movement. But many critics believe it was Jimmy Van Heusen's music and Sammy Cahn's lyrics that saved Frank Sinatra's career and provided some musical balance. Van Heusen had an incredible energy. Some said he was a perpetual teenager. He would do wild stunts, and he did not hesitate to say that his favorite things in order of importance were chicks, booze, and Sinatra. For his part, Sinatra adored Van Heusen, and Cahn says Sinatra was trying to mimic Van Heusen's lifestyle. They were soulmates, and it's said that Jimmy was probably the only person who could out-party Sinatra. In 1960, Van Heusen and Cahn came close to another Academy Award. They were nominated for the second time around from the movie High Time. Alas, it did not win the Oscar, but hey, I get to sing it. And theme-wise, I happen to be eminently qualified in this, my third time around. Love is lovelier the second time around, just as wonderful with both feet on the ground. It's the second time you hear your love song sung. Makes you think, perhaps, that love like youth is wasted on the young. Love's more comfortable the second time you fall, like a friendly home the second time you call. Who can say what led us to this miracle we found? There are those who'll bet love comes but once, and yet I'm oh so glad we met the second time around. Love's more comfortable the second time you fall, like a friendly home the second time you call. Who can say what led us to this miracle we found? There are those who'll say that love comes but once, and yet I'm oh so glad we met the second time around. Yeah, the second time around for most people, 3 for me. The second time around. Well, with the few minutes we have left, we're going to hopscotch around a little bit. Though Van Heusen did most of his writing with Johnny Burke for Bing Crosby in Hollywood, they also did a Broadway musical financially backed by Bing Crosby, and it was called Carnival in Flanders in 1953. Talk about flops. It ran only a week, but it produced a haunting ballad. Jeff Hall will sing it for us now. Here's That Rainy Day.
Maybe I should have saved those leftover dreams funny, but here's that rainy day. Here's that rainy day they told me about, and I laughed at the thought that it might turn out this way. Where is that worn out wish that I threw aside? After it brought my lover near. Funny how love becomes a cold, rainy day. Funny that rainy day is here. It brought my lover near. Funny how love becomes a cold, rainy day. It's funny that rainy day is here.
Jimmy Van Heusen, born Arthur Chester Babcock, was among the first handful of composers elected to the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and he often called this 1970 award his proudest accomplishment. Though he wrote about love and marriage, he remained a bachelor until 1969, when he tied the knot with Bobby Brock, who had been a musical revue singer back when Jimmy was starting to write his songs. She remained by his side to the day he passed away on February 7th, 1990. He was buried in the Sinatra family plot, and his grave marker reads, "Swinging on a Star," the title of his first Oscar. As we noted earlier, Jimmy Van Heusen was a World War II test pilot for Lockheed, and he subsequently flew his own plane all over the country and also became a helicopter pilot. He just flat out loved to fly. And that fact leads us to our final tune, sung for us by Jeff Hall and backed by Laurie Mechem piano, Roger Spencer bass, Duffy Jackson drums, and Denis Solee on sax. This tune was written for Frank Sinatra, who else, in 1958 at Frank's request. And it was recorded the next year as the title track of Frank's hit album. Here it is, Come Fly With Me. Jeff?
Come fly with me, come fly, let's fly away. If you could use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's take off to Peru. In Llama Land, there's a one-man band, and he'll tune his flute for you. Come fly with me, let's take off in the blue. Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied, we'll just glide starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may hear angels cheer, 'cause we're together weather-wise. It's such a lovely day. Just say the words and we'll be the birds down to Acapulco Bay. Well, it's perfect for a flying honeymoon. They say, come fly with me, come fly, let's fly away. Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied, we'll just glide starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may hear angels cheer, 'cause we're together weather-wise. It's such a lovely day. Just say the word and we'll be the birds down to Acapulco Bay. It's perfect for a flying honeymoon. They say, come fly with me, let's fly. Come on, let's fly away. Fly away.
Jeff Hall, Liz Johnson. Laurie Mechem piano. Roger Spencer bass. Duffy Jackson drums. Denis Solee saxophone. And me, I'm Don Henry. Thank you all. You're a wonderful audience.
You did it, Roger. You told him again.